We are live. It is 3:06 Central Standard Time in the United States, 9:06 BST in the UK. It is the Nomad Tech Project with Sam and Joe.
Hey.
Coming to you live this now, June 2nd, 2024. We're already in June, gents, so hopefully you weren't hoping for a slow 24 because we're almost halfway through already at the end of the month.
It's a going.
It's a going. So, and if you've noticed, if you're watching the stream, great. If you're not, you should be. We've got Dan-GroundedTech decided to come on by, talk about some stuff. We haven't seen him in a while. How you doing, Dan? Good seeing you, sir.
From the 40s or something, I think.
Right. I didn't know if I should play some big band or swing.
There we go.
There it goes. Yeah, that's all right. I kind of like the black and white thing. Like I said off camera, I was like, it kind of looks like Grand Theft Auto. Get wasted on a podcast.
Just copying One Division, isn't he? Like, One Division started black and white, didn't it? Exactly. At the beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
exactly the vibe I was going for, Joe. Thank you.
Well, so how are you, mate? It's been a while since we chatted. Haven't been on for a couple of months. So how you been?
It's been all right. Things are going on. Things
and stuff. Stuff and things.
Things and stuff. Stuff and things.
Well, that's good. So what have you been working on your professional side of the things? I know you've been doing. Have you doing much streaming lately? I haven't been able to pay attention. I don't know if you.
I've not been doing a lot of streaming. Sort of been cut back a bit with that. Not really doing much gaming, although I've got a slight addiction in the last few days to Civilization 5. I
saw the post about that, and I was curious because I used to be a huge Civ fan, and I think I kind of fell off the wagon around 4 or 5, and I know I saw 6. I think I have it on stream, and I don't know. I just haven't played it as much. I used to be a huge Civ fan back in the day.
Yeah, I love Civ.
Yeah, I started playing. I think when I got my first PC, which was like 98, I think I was playing Civ 2.
Yeah,
so,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Which one was it where you did your throne room? Yeah, I added to that.
That was 3. Was it 3?
That's one I got heavily into that one.
Can't remember. I know it was one of the earlier ones. So yeah, like I said, I know I've had Civ 6. I think I had it installed on. I think I bought it as a matter of fact, and I just have not played it. You know what's funny is whatever happened to Sim City. Remember that game back in the day? I used to play the hell out of that game.
I never actually gave it a go. I mean, I was aware that it was a big thing, but like I never sort of gave that a go. I was sort of like more. It was more sort of military, sci-fi, RTS stuff that I sort of ended up leaning into more.
So more of a StarCraft kind of, Command and Conquer kind of guy.
Funnily enough, which is kind of crazy. Really? It was like the biggest thing at the time. But I was playing Command and Conquers, obviously, Total Annihilation. There was a game called Earth 2150.
Yeah, I knew that one.
Did I say Warzone 2100?
Yeah.
That was really good as well. So lots of random strategy games.
Please say you played Theme Hospital though.
I didn't.
Oh, Theme Hospital was great.
I just had no interest in it. Like that's
with slack tongue, bloaty head. Oh, it was brilliant. It's such a good game.
Yeah.
You played it, Sam, right?
I played The Sims. I played The Sims.
No, I didn't. I played The Sims a little bit, and I just what drove me off that game was that stupid the language. I was like, I can't.
That is quite annoying.
I can't do it. I was like, I wish you could shut
People in the
up.
chat, please say you've played Theme Hospital. Someone.
Well, the best thing that I played, Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh yeah, theme park.
Oh,
yeah,
just amazing. Even better because my first PC that I got had a CD rewriter, and there was no copyright protection on the games back then, so you could make copies of the games. I was selling them to my teachers at school and stuff. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah, Roller Coaster Tycoon. Yeah, Roller Coaster Tycoon was another one. I really did enjoy that.
So I didn't play that. But I played Theme Park and Theme Park World.
Yeah,
Theme Park World.
Yeah. Flight Simulator. Oh, that's too much. That's too much work.
Oh, that's.
Dude, I tried to play the Microsoft one, the new one. I couldn't even hit the Cessna. I'm like with the pedals. I'm like, dude, I don't even think I got off maybe I got off the ground, and then I was just trying to all the stuff you need to do just to try to get. I was like, ugh. And then the other game I used to play. There was I guess it was a strategy game or real time was well, it's a couple different names, but it was 1602 AD, which is the game, and I seen it called Anno 1602.
Oh, Anno, yes.
Yeah, so I used to play that, and then I used to play that quite a bit actually on my old PC.
Anno's still going strong as well. It's
yeah, really? Okay, yeah, I know they had some other versions of it. And then another game I played, which it never caught on. Maybe it's on another platform. Was Populous. I used to play that.
Yeah.
That was a fun game back in the day where you like start with your little guy and you try to like
I very nearly got that.
Yeah, and then all the different like a god kind of thing. It's cool.
Yeah, it was black and white as well, right?
Yeah, and the one I had was on. I think the first one I ever played was on Genesis, and it was on another platform that I used to play, and I can't think of it. But yeah, it was another game that I thought for sure would really take off, and I don't know a lot of people actually ever really played it. What was that? It's water. Right?
Hydrated.
I was saying cheers to Jimmy. You know, Jimmy asked if we were hydrating. So
yeah, he's hydrating. That's put the water jug up there. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't see.
It's not a jug. It's a point.
It's a pint glass. Yeah, it's okay. So, Giant Citizen Kabuto. No, I haven't, but I heard of it.
I've not heard of that.
I've heard of it before, but I don't think I've ever played the game. And then, so Populous I thought that was a game I liked to play a lot, and then I thought would take
Populous,
off.
Yeah, I played that. I think
that was pretty cool. And then when the Dreamcast came out, my game that I just got I don't think I've ever been addicted to a game more is Phantasy Star Online. I played.
Man. I never got to
years
play
of that game.
I never got to play that one, but I played Phantasy Star Online 2 on the GameCube, but without the online element.
Oh wow. It's still a fun game.
I love the game. I still love playing the game, but I think it would have been so much better if I played online. I just didn't have
because I mean the problem is some of the drops and some of the things you could have got were online only in groups and stuff, but it was still a lot of fun. I just remember playing literally for weeks and weeks and weeks. That's the only game I was playing. I didn't play anything.
Dreamcast was ahead of its time.
I love the Dreamcast. I still have 2 of them. I've got an original one that I bought, and then I actually had. And I posted some pictures before. It's Millennium. It's like a clear green shell. It was all a Millennium 2000 edition because it came out 9/9/99. That's when it was the launch date.
So I was heavily into Football Manager. Football Manager took so much of my time.
Well, I played Championship Manager and then Football
Manager.
The
original.
Yeah.
That's the original.
Yeah. Oregon Trail. I was actually I was involved in that game. I did the motion capture, especially when you shoot the buffalo. That was me. I was the little pixelated guy. Actually, the funny thing, that was the game we actually had computers in our classrooms, which when I was in 6th grade, it was 1986, 85, something like that. And we had a computer in the class, and that was the game we had. Everybody had that and the Carmen Sandiego games. That was we're in the world. That was the only game that was allowed in school, and we just thought it was so cool that we had a computer in our classroom. We just thought.
Do you know what? The teacher would like this story, Sam. Right? When I was in San Francisco, I went to a computer museum.
Oh yeah,
I played Pong, and I thought of you.
Oh
wow.
Well, I did have Pong. Well, the funny thing is, I did have the Pong, and that was the one that it was the unit by itself, and you just plug directly into the television and just had the 2 paddles. They didn't have control. You had to just sit there on the floor. Yeah, it was amazing.
And it's amazing though, something so simple was actually really fun.
I'm telling you, man,
simplicity is better.
Just remember back in that time, and I know for anybody who's younger than 30 or maybe even 35, arcades aren't a thing anymore. But when I was a kid, that's the only place you could play games. You couldn't play an arcade game at your house. And if you did, it didn't look anything like the stuff that was at the arcades, right? Stuff like Karate Champ and all these games, right? Until you really had a Nintendo before them, but the older systems in the late 70s or early 80s, like ColecoVision and Television, those games weren't in arcades. You actually had to take a handful of quarters and go up and play those arcade games. And then what happened was...
even so, right, even with all the consoles, I'd argue something like Street Fighter is much better in the arcade. Smashing the buttons on the arcade is so much better. Without
a doubt, because you had, first of all, you had the social component, right? And then also, since it's a fighting game, you have the trash talking component, right? And then everybody would stand around, and then, of course, there'd be quarters across the top of the cabinet for folks that would, But yeah, I would argue that was kind of one of the fun things I liked to do when I was a kid is go into an arcade. They used to have one at a mall, which they don't even have anymore. They're going out of style here in the U.S., but... and downstairs, it was a place called Tilt at Northwest Plaza. And it's that if you thought you were good at those games, like if you were great at Street Fighter, great at Tekken, great at any of those, that was where you went to cut your teeth. If you thought you were good, that's when you would go and watch people who were really good And I mean, but it was like it became like a social event. When I was a kid, when the Mortal Kombat 3 came out, the first place in St. Louis was at the airport. And I remember getting on with a buddy of mine, drop it off the airport. It was like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. It was an arcade. The airport terminal was still open because it's an airport, right? And literally there probably was 50 people in this thing that was about the size of maybe 10 arcade games. That was all it was, because it was just, at the airport. And there were people standing around it. And this is the first night we ever seen it. And that was all people were doing. We were at the airport playing Mortal Kombat 3 because that's the only place it came out. It was a big deal back then. Those things don't happen
my generation
because of
kind of just missed out on that.
And it's kind of sucks. I get it, because now it's cool, because now it's more accessible to a lot of students, a lot of kids, a lot of players around the world. You can play with people across the globe. It's great, and streaming is cool, but there's something that you miss just standing in an arcade with a bunch of mates. Just
and with family as well. It's great to go to an arcade.
We've just had one open in the city centre here. New arcade, like with just old arcade machines. It's great.
Yeah, there's they have a place in St. Louis that's called One Up or Up Down or something like that, or Arcade Plus, and it's all those are arcade games. It's a bar, right? And that's all it was. And you just get a card and you just play like Tekken and Karate Champ and Cubert and all
Time Crisis, Time
Pilot, basically Moon Patrol, Lunar Lander, all that shit, stuff like that. Those kind of games that just
So, question, chap, what's your go-to arcade game then, Sam? You first, and then Dan after.
When I Mortal Kombat, without a doubt. That was my go-to anytime. I didn't care what it was. Mortal Kombat 3, 2, 4. I didn't care what it was. If there was a machine in the arcade, it was Mortal Kombat. We're talking about newer. I never was a Street Fighter guy, and Tekken I just wasn't very good at it. I mean, people were really good at Tekken. I was terrible at it.
I'm going to guess Dan's going to say a racing game of some sort.
No, to be fair, I wasn't really into racing games other than I was playing games like Rock and Roll Racing. What else was it? Top Gear 2. That game was amazing. But I don't think they were classed as arcade games. Like, I don't think they were actually arcade games. So that's the thing. I didn't really do arcade games. No. I mean, like I like playing like Crazy Taxi. Crazy Taxi is a fantastic
that's brilliant.
Game.
I love that
game.
I played that on the Dreamcast. I never saw it at the arcade, but I just remember. Yeah,
again, that's much better at the arcade with the pedals and
really good at the arcade. Yeah,
right. It was just and even the Punch Out. They had the old little plunger. We had the wireframe dude. It wasn't Mike Tyson's Punch Out. It was just Punch Out. And you had a wireframe guy. It was kind of, again, it's nothing beat just going to a place and like a soda shop, or they had a little burger place, or just an arcade, just had nothing in it but just games. And unfortunately, this generation is going to kind of miss out on that. And they make it some nostalgic stuff, but it kind of sucks. It was it was really kind of a social thing. You ride your bikes there, everybody hung out, and then you go outside and played wiffle ball or softball or football or whatever it was. And then you went home when the lights came on for your street. That was the time to come home when you were a kid. That's when you were supposed to. You didn't have a phone. So that was like, hey, when my mom was like, hey, when the lights come on and the street lights come on, that's when I want you in the house. That was it. And that became kind of the generational thing. So
dinner, bath, bed.
Dinner, bath, bed. Yeah, exactly. So
good old days.
The good old days. I hate to wax nostalgic about that kind of stuff, but I'm kind of like at my age, a person who's 50 has kind of seen it all. I grew up without computers in the home. Mm-hmm. Then computers were in the home. And then I went from
I did just.
I remember a time when it was just like, we still had a rotary phone. And when I was a real little kid, I was like 4 or 5, where I lived, my mom and I still had a party line phone. So that was everybody in the line, and the house on the street shared a trunk line. And basically you would pick up the phone and people would be on the line, and you'd have to wait until they got off. It was like it was a trunk, an actual switchboard operator would pull the plug and push it in the switchboard and make the connection, but it was the entire street. So if there was like 5,
could you hear when someone joined the conversation? Be like, get off the phone.
Yeah, you can hear it. And now people try to like lift the receiver, so you didn't. But there was always an audible click. You could always hear it.
Yeah.
And so, but it was like you jump on the phone and you wouldn't know if somebody was on the phone. You would just pick it up and somebody would be talking. You'd set it right back down, or you'd say, "Hey, I need to make a call," and they jump off the call real quick, and then they would connect you. It was weird. I mean, they were called party lines back in the day. So anyway, I kind of seen it all. Unfortunately, now we're in the age of AI.
I had a Commodore 64 when I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Oh yeah, I had one of those too.
That was like my first sort of computer, and then Sega Mega Drive, Genesis, whatever you want to call it. After that, so it was all games consoles up until I didn't get a PC until '98. I was what 11.
Yeah,
so,
good old Windows 98.
Windows 98. Packard Bell, mate. Packard Bell.
Did you what game was your arcade? I didn't think you did. What game did you play in the arcade when
me?
Yeah.
So I did like Street Fighter a lot. Yeah,
Street
Fighter's probably my one.
Time Crisis was a good one though. Time Crisis.
Time Crisis.
I didn't think of it, but Crazy Taxi actually was one of my go-to. If I see that in there, I'd always jump on that.
Yeah, I remember Silent Scope. I thought that was pretty cool one with the sniper.
Yeah.
That was always a pretty cool Konami game. I thought it was kind of cool.
There's one I couldn't remember what it was called, but there used to be this football.
It was on PlayStation. Yeah, Silent Scope. Yeah, I think so. But I think I don't know if they had did they have a gun attachment? I don't know. Okay.
Maybe. There's another one at the arcade where it actually had a physical football. You had to kick and score goals against the goalkeeper. That's quite cool. I really enjoyed playing that. Spent loads of time doing that.
Hey, look at that. Greggles TV's on the chat. Hey, Greggles.
Hey, Greggles.
Hey, welcome. What I get my high-speed internet? I still don't have it. I live in the woods. Actually, I kind of do. So it's T-Mobile high-speed 5G internet thingy jobby. So no, I'm still. I guess you guys have it all.
Would it be classed as like the switch over to broadband from dial-up? Would that be like
your DSL for your T1?
Yeah, I know exactly when I got it. I know exactly when I got it because it was when I got Xbox Live. I was like, I need internet to play games. Give me the internet.
Absolutely,
yeah. So it was Project Gotham Racing and then Halo 2. I was like, yes.
Your old IDSNs, huh? Yeah, that's pretty good. 1998. Okay, very cool.
That's a lot earlier than me.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think Greg and I are a little older. I turned 49 here in a month, so I'm a little older. So yeah, it's
World Cup '98 was good as well. I had FIFA '98.
I still remember
ISS 98 was my football game at the time.
My buddy had he got the Sega CD, and then we played FIFA on Sega CD, which was cool because they had like little videos and the interludes, and it was like. I just remember sitting down there going, this is like probably the greatest thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life. And you're just like, Sega CD was cool. Like then we got the Dreamcast and we had the Sega Saturns and stuff. So it was cool. Anyway, so let's fast forward to current times so we don't have to sit here and live in the 90s. We're going to have to do that eventually.
So those are good times.
They were good.
They were great times. times.
Walkman.
And then, so anyway, Dan, so what are you preparing for, working on? Oh, Mad Dog McCree, get out of here. Hell yeah, I forgot all about that. FIFA and Mad Dog McCree, the Sega CD games. Hell yeah, dude. That was awesome. So, yeah, Barry got it in 2004. Okay, so high speed at work and university had to wait for you. Yeah, I mean, I'm out here. I mean, we have it, through Uverse, but I guess you would call it high speed. But I don't know if 45 meg is considered high speed. It doesn't feel like high speed.
When I got broadband, it was 756 KB.
Whew.
Yes, whatever. That was broadband.
Right.
It's not even a meg. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Just reads MSN messaging.
Right. AOL.
Or Windows Live messengers it became later on.
Yeah.
It's all good. So what have you been working on lately? So I mean, I see obviously you're still involved in Snapdragon stuff. Obviously, you can tell. And then so what else have you been kind of working on, getting prepared to work on, or getting prepared for?
There's a few things going on at the minute. A few things, small things, just small, Joe, just really small,
tiny.
Yeah, tiny. Well, my other half is expecting, so that's something.
Well, that's definitely, I would say that's definitely something. Congratulations.
That's just a small thing.
That's
It is at the minute. It is at the minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, we only found out like a couple of weeks back, so it's
awesome. Congratulations, sir.
Yeah,
very cool
and unexpected, so it's even better.
Right.
But that. So everything obviously is changing. Trying to get sort of with another job and. Hopefully got a video editing role coming up. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, everything's all go as it is. But thanks, guys, to everyone in the chat. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So that's cool.
It's the best news.
I
already knew though. I already knew. Sorry,
I know you already knew.
I did not.
To be fair, Sam did reply to me and ignored the comment of where I told you.
Oh,
so I didn't want to bring it up again, but I was like, maybe he's ready, maybe he hasn't. I'm just gonna,
see, I don't know. So this again. This is what I tell you when I'm chatting through the stuff. I kind of glance through the things, and then the funny thing is, like right now, to be fair, it's probably been a few days since I looked. And one of the chats, I mean, it's 249 messages.
Oh, dude.
And I'm just like, and it's the bunch of phonies. I'm like, I can't. I feel so bad because I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I've kind of become that guy. I just don't. Dude, it's not because of neglect. I love you guys. I just don't get a look around.
Sam, I finish work sometimes. I'll just skip.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I mean, I'm like, and a lot of it's pictures and stuff like that. And then one of the other ones, it's 400. It's our peach chat. So that's like, what's happening? So everybody's posting all these great. I just don't get on the computer a lot. I guess I'm old. And when I do, I kind of glance at the messages or whatever. And if you don't send me a direct message, I'm just gonna miss it. So I apologize. That's fine. I'm a terrible human being. That's fine.
No,
and it's DT. That's his first time hearing about it. Well, that's okay. So
to be fair, he isn't. He's been sarcastic.
Oh, I tried. So, but he did.
It's yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, I guess what's been going on as far as
I've thrown things off completely.
No, I'm trying to think about what's going on. I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a slow time because it seems like it always has been, but I mean,
me and Dan both got a phone coming along.
Right.
On the 6th of June. Yep, Thursday. Xperia 1 Mark 6.
I'm curious to see how you guys are looking forward to that because there are some changes to the Mark 6, right?
There is, yes. There's quite a few,
and,
actually.
And sounds kind of, I guess it's kind of mixed. I guess some people are kind of excited about it. I guess maybe people are looking for the silver lining in it, but I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a different approach to what Sony has done. And I'm curious, what do you think the approach is? And do you think it's going to move the needle?
Do you feel the same as me? At first, I was like really disappointed with quite a lot of things. But the more content I've watched, I'm starting to get excited, man.
Yeah, I know. But then I think that's just a natural sort of, I'm getting a new gadget sort of.
Yeah,
that always seems to be the case, and then I can end up disappointed with it not long after. But I don't know. I'm still mixed on it. I'm still mixed. I did a little write up about it the other day, just sort of talking about.
Where can you find that then for the people?
It's on my Medium and my Substack. I think I've got links on my Twix page.
Cool.
But
check it out, guys.
Yeah, I nearly made it into a video, but I didn't quite. Yeah, it's kind of weird because it's like some improvements that are quite welcome, and then things that have been sort of like with the screen, people feel like it's been downgraded because it's gone from 4K to 1080p. Even though the screen ran in 1080p most of the time anyway. So
yeah,
it's like,
too fair.
Well, why are we getting so worked up about it? It's, it's not. I think that the biggest thing for me was that the cameras hadn't been upgraded, really, other than the telephoto getting extended range and the telemacro and things like that. The sensors are still exactly the same, which, when you consider like all these other companies coming out with these massive sensors for everything, and you're charging the highest possible price, you kind of want that as well. So I was kind of hopeful that they were going to put like XMOR T sensors in all 3 sensors on the back.
That's some of the rumors we'd heard, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the original rumors, and then it started saying, "Oh, well, actually, no, we're going to just put." They're just going to put the same sensors. I was like, oh, come on.
You put the same sensors. I'm going to change the form factor a little bit. Oh, great.
Yeah. I think the form factor thing actually went down really badly as well.
Yeah.
It's gone down fine with people that don't use Xperia.
Yeah.
But the people that do use Xperia aren't happy about it.
Yeah, because that was one of the draws for it.
Same with the 4K screen, yeah.
Well, I'm curious why they decided to go all the way from 4K all the way to 1080p instead of maybe going to the like a little bit.
There's a few things, Sam. There's a few things. For the peak brightness, that was one of the reasons, because the 4K screen, they couldn't get the brightness as high as they wanted, and the other one was for LTPO refresh rate. Yeah, so that was the 2 reasons apparently.
Well, Honestly, I don't really have a problem with the 1080p as long as the refresh rate's there, and even with the refresh rate, I don't think it's, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think obviously you want to have 120. I mean, I guess for a person like you guys, since you guys are both really photography centric, I would think the upgrade with the cameras not being there, as far as like the sensors and probably the software, I assume is probably fairly similar. But that's kind of. I mean, how do you feel about that? As far as like, maybe if you get a good deal on the trading, like if you traded them the Mark V, and then you get, you're not eating the whole cost. But if you're a person who's looking to upgrade and you're really camera centric, do you think that is going to?
So the thing that does excite me is the telemacro looks really fun. So I'm actually excited.
That's one thing that I am really looking forward to using, because it does look very. It does look good. The images still look a little bit soft, but
it's 12 megapixels on that small sensor.
That's got a typical Sony way, because Sony's images do look a little bit softer anyway, because they don't add as much processing as everybody else. So that's fine. I like a softer image anyway.
But
it does give you. I mean, that extended range is going to make it a lot better for the portrait side of things. I think a lot of people, when they look at these zoom lenses, they have a habit of just going for the maximum zoom at something that's really far away, and they all look like bloody oil paintings, and they look like garbage, and I'd never use them. I'd never use them ever.
No.
On any phone, pretty much. But it's when you get to that sort of portrait territory that having that sort of extended zoom range will probably come in handy. And
so I tell you, it's going to be really good for
with that.
So it's going to be really good for people that do street photography, because you don't have to get so close to the subject.
Yeah,
you get a great street photography. I think Manos would like it.
Yeah, I was going to say, friend of the show, Manos is probably going to dig on that because of the street photography component. So, and then funny, Brad makes a funny comment. Ironically, the one-inch sensors are made by Sony, yet they're never in their phone.
yeah,
which is kind of funny. I mean, I don't know why. I guess maybe they have some kind of a reason why they don't do it. A deal with them that we can't do. I mean, I can't imagine why. Maybe they just don't think they need it in their Xperia line, which is. That's the only thing about it. It's just like, it seems like for me, I mean, I've had a couple experiences, and then of course I had the 5.4, which Dan told me don't get because it's overheats, and then of course about a day later I noticed it started getting hot. And I was like, I bought it after I got it. I actually watched Dan's video. I was like,
you watched the video late. You watched the video.
Yeah,
late,
that was my fault. It was terrible prep on my part, so that is what I get. But I get. It seems like with the Sony phones, it's just like, what do you think? Obviously, price is they're usually higher. If you were running Sony's campaign, you don't have an unlimited budget here, so just if I had all the budget, I just flood ads. What do you think you could do to get, I guess, the Xperia to be more widely considered in the Android space? Obviously, in the United States, it's going to be hard. Yeah, well, I mean, clearly that has to happen, but I mean, do you think that is it just because there's so many other Android phones that do so many other things? It's just hard, and is it too late for Sony at this point?
Yeah, I don't think if they try to be like everybody else, they'll definitely go out of business.
Yes, yeah.
You need to niche. You've got to niche down, and they have niched down, and it has worked to a degree. But the last couple of years have gone a little bit off. Sort of sales have gone down a little bit, but they've got more competition in Japan because more people are buying Pixels as well. So that's something big over there that's been happening. And then this year, I don't know how they're expecting to, keep sales up or increase sales if they remove the phone from the US and China. That makes no sense to me. And China's supposed to be a pretty big market. So I don't really understand the strategy there, to be honest, unless they're looking at bringing it later. But again, that doesn't. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what the strategy is anymore. And that's partly what I wrote in my article, is that basically has Sony just killed off the Xperia range.
Yeah.
Because as much as don't get me wrong, I still love these phones. They don't have the best sensors, sure. I kind of expected another Pro I phone with like the 1-inch sensor, but we didn't get that. Last year, the Xperia 1 Mark V was actually quite it was pretty. I thought it was a pretty good upgrade, and it had something that not a lot of phones had with that X-More-T sensor, which we've now got in other phones with the lighter range, that you got your 1-inch sensors and stuff in the Xiaomi's and your Oppos and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But they've not sort of they've not kept up with that race. And to be fair, I don't think for the past few years Sony has anyway, because they use the same sensors in their phones for like 3 years at one stage. So I don't think they're really into the whole let's just put all the best sensors in sort of thing. They just want to keep iterating and just getting the features and things right.
Yeah,
and that's a good point, Dan, because with them, like other OEMs try and get the color science the same on all 3 lenses, but that's not generally how different focal lengths actually work on normal cameras. Sony just allow it how it is. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, they're pretty well matched. It's pretty.
They are, but not to the same degree.
No, they're not. But I like the fact that Sony is sort of focused on. They seem to be more focused on video than photography with the Xperia.
Yeah,
the main sort of go-to with it.
Which makes it funny though, Dan, that it's launching without the Video Pro.
Don't just. Oh, mate, I know. I just don't know. I don't understand it.
And I guess that's my thing. It's like, so Dan makes a great comment about, and I agree that they're like maybe more video focused, but yet then they take the video component, the Video Pro. It's like
it's coming.
Like,
it's coming.
That's coming, but it's
ridiculous.
It's just like that's the thing I think about with these companies. It's like you would think that I understand features take time and it's all software, and I get it, they have teams, but I mean, the fact that phone's going to launch and it's not going to have a Video Pro is kind of silly. It's kind of silly if they want to be.
Apparently, you can just sideload it, and it's still
I've heard that. Yeah, because it's the same lenses, though.
Yeah, but I don't understand why you would take away that feature before implementing it properly. Because it's a separate app. It's a separate app anyway. So why remove it? I mean, I've got the new camera app on my Xperia 1 Mark V.
Right.
So you can still use.
Will it be a separate app on the new? Because they've put it all together, haven't they?
I think that's the intention, is that they integrate it all into one app.
Yeah, so they probably haven't done that yet. Because when it comes to software,
it's supposed to be focused on video. If you're an Xperia user and you're wanting it because you want that specific tool set, because no other phone offers that tool set, and they take away that tool set, what's the bloody point? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
It's so silly. It's so silly.
Well, and indeed, maybe I'm alone in this, but I would say that North American, at least the United States market, is closed off to Android. It's done. It's over for Android. So it's basically, except unless you're Samsung, who can do it, Pixels that kind of can get maybe in the budget or alternate space, and maybe some Motorola's sprinkled in here just to kind of get that budget area for phones. But the rest of it, it's done. It's over. The United States is all iOS, and that's just the end of it. And it's going to get worse in the next 5 years. So
my 1 Mark 6 case.
There you go. And then
let's have a look how it fits into the.
Brad says Xperia 1 Mark 6 video. Professional photographers love it. Yeah, Sony's old strategy,
and that's their target market. So
yep,
not really that much different, is it?
Yeah, and I know we also know that Google launches. Yeah. Well, they talk about all these features, and yet they're going to roll out in feature updates. It's like, you probably should just launch them all and then maybe not mention it at the beginning. But anyway, so
I mean, you shouldn't buy anything on the promise of future updates anyway. I mean, it's like the Xperia 1 Mark V last year. When they released the Xperia 5 Mark V, it came with a new bokeh mode, which was really improved and really good. And they're like, it'll come to the 1 Mark V in an update. Still not here.
Right. Really?
Still don't have it.
Disappointing, isn't it?
And it's not likely to come, which is ridiculous. So, and then Sony's saying, we'll give you these video features later. I'm like, how can I believe you?
Yeah, you can't exactly trust that, can you?
No.
When promises haven't been met before. Yeah, that's not good.
No,
I'm still looking forward to getting it.
Yes,
I mean,
me too.
I've got my case. I've got my screen protector. I've also just ordered the vlog monitor and hand.
See that? That's what I'd love to have.
Then we'll see what it's like. Because I'm gonna start doing more streaming and things and getting out and about.
Good.
That sort of stuff. So it should be fun. I've heard battery life for that new screen, by the way, is insane.
Yes, that's what I've heard from most videos as well.
Well, it should be, considering they got, I mean, obviously, hopefully they've got some a new chipset, right? So we have the Snapdragon Gen 3, right? And then you'll also have a 1080p screen. So yeah, you should have some
LTPO.
Apparently running quite a lot longer than even other 8 Gen 3 phones. It's
it's a beast. Yeah, apparently.
Yep. So that's always
trade-off.
And that's more important for folks like me. I think for me, I would prefer that. Yep. Obviously, I would like the camera improvements and having the features, but for a person like me, I mean, like I said, I had the more. I would have kept the 5 Mark IV if it wasn't just for the overheating and the fact that again, it was one of those things for me is I want to be a Sony fan, at least Xperia fan, but nothing in the phone with the photography is great, but it's like that's okay, that's great, and but it just as far as every other phone. It kind of lost inside of the other capabilities of other devices like Samsung.
It doesn't have those capabilities. Yeah, it's very bare bones software wise. It's very good for a specific use, specific tools and things. But when you compare it to like a Samsung or a Pixel, the software is just not as useful. So,
even Motorola's pretty bare bones, but they've got some some features.
Really good. I like that.
Yeah, it's great. I would argue though, Sony phones are good at everything, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they have headphone jack, really good speakers, nice screen. They're fast because they always have the best chipset. They do everything pretty good. Like for an all-round phone, they're pretty good.
Yeah, if you're not wanting anything fancy software-wise, you just want it to do everything. Yeah, I like it that way.
But yeah, I am excited. Like I said, I'm glad that you guys are going to get your hands on it. It's not going to be in the US, so. Which is
that's kind of I don't know. I don't know.
That's a bummer.
That's a bit strange decision, I think.
And this is the only case that Spiegel's offering, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Wow.
So the zero case that we had last year for the 1 Mark V, this one.
I love.
I know I know multiple other people that use this case. It's not there at the minute. Well, it wasn't when I ordered anyway. Maybe they'll add it this coming week, but it wasn't there. So.
See, I haven't looked yet. I need to pull my finger out because literally it's Thursday.
Yeah. And here's another thing. Like I said, DT is comment pretty good for a $1,400 phone. Yeah, I mean, well, there's a lot of phones. Like I said, again, that's kind of the that's where you run. Like
no, my point is, it's pretty good at everything.
Right.
Because not all phones are pretty good at everything. So that's why. Yeah,
it's utility good. Basically. It's got everything. I mean, I sort of. I kind of just think we need to get out of that whole, we need to look at everything as being a phone. Like there's specific things you can do with these phones that other phones can't do.
Right.
So it just comes down to value and what you can actually get out of it.
What are you looking for personally?
I can't get what I want from an Xperia on another device. Simple as that.
Right. Yeah, and that's why you're fans of them, and that's why we are looking forward to you actually getting hands-on with the device and some content, and we're looking forward to see what you think of it, because there are some changes here that we really are kind of interested. It's not just the same old Xperia this year around, so we're kind of excited about some what you guys are going to say. Well, what else you guys been doing? Shopping for some computers? Some laptops? So how's that been going? A little bit more of a interesting situation than you probably anticipated, I guess.
Do you want to go first, Dan?
I mean, we were just having a conversation about it. Like we were just messaging each other on Telegram because we were both looking at these Snapdragon X Elite laptops and the X Plus stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at getting one because I want one for video editing and some other things, but I wanted one with 32 gigs of RAM.
Same.
And I wanted to have the higher performance version of the X Elite, which I think is the 84.
Yep, the top end one.
Top end.
Yep.
So we found one with an 84. The trouble is that in terms of retailers here, at least, I don't know how it is in the US.
I think it's the same in the US pretty much.
Same in the US as well.
Yep.
So
I think
the only one that I found with the top end X Elite was the Samsung. Was it the Book Edge 4?
Yep.
16-inch.
Yes, 16-inch as well. Yeah.
But then it only comes with 16 gigs of RAM. And like all these models seem to come with 16 gigs of RAM. And then the only model that came with 32 was the Surface Pro, which was over $2,000, and still only comes with.
I think it's the 80.
The 80.
Yeah.
Which is like the mid. Is it the mid SKU? I think it is.
Yeah, it's the mid SKU. So I mean, Don't get me wrong, I'm tempted by the Surface Pro, but I can't warrant that money. I just can't pay out that money.
But then when I've been onto Lenovo's website, they have like options to sort of really flesh it out and choose what you want, but then it's still the lowest end SKU, so you can get all the RAM and stuff you want, but then it doesn't have the higher end XLE,
it's 78.
Really annoying. So it's a little bit. I mean, it's early days though. That's the thing. So they're obviously just limited on what they can offer initially, and then over time it'll, the options will flesh out a bit. But yeah,
we can't get the SKU we want.
No.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the annoying part, is that we just can't get the one we want. But I suppose I need to wait anyway. I mean, I need to wait until they update for Adobe stuff, because apparently Adobe's bringing native support. I think they said summer, so it should be very soon.
See, I know nothing about Windows on ARM, right?
I've never used it on ARM.
Like, Sam, have you got any experience with Windows on ARM?
Not really, no.
Because obviously the reason it hasn't made it that big yet is because of support, but there's loads of promises that there's going to be a lot of support with XElite, isn't there? So that's why I'm excited and want to go into it. But there is some fear that some of the stuff I want to do I might not be able to yet. Like, is that a fear I should have or not have, Dan? Like,
depends what things you're on about doing.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'd imagine pretty much everything will work, but it's just a case of whether
the Steam work on it.
I would have thought so.
Yeah,
I would have thought so. But I don't know. I'm not buying it for Steam anyway, so I'm not really. I'm not buying it for gaming.
I should look it up, really, shouldn't I, before I go all in?
Peter is in the chat. He probably can tell you, but
yeah, he will know. I'm sure he will know. I'll message him.
I know Juan's the one person I know that's been using Windows on ARM quite a lot the last couple of years. So, yeah, I think if I get a laptop though, it's going to be an XElite. I mean, I was sort of contemplating Intel as well, but like when you just look at like the power draw of it, you're going to get all that noise as well from the fans and everything else. It's just like, ugh.
Do you know what I'd love though, and I bet Sam would like this actually, the dev kit.
You know what? That thing looks amazing. And it's does, the exact spec that I want.
Yep.
It's that thing looks I want.
Beautiful.
Well, it looks like the best you can do. It looks like the Galaxy Book 4 Edge. You can get the XElite, you can get the 84, right? And you can get the most you can get is 16 gig RAM, but it's a terabyte.
Exactly.
That's not terrible. I mean, I don't. That's one of those things where that looks like the best you can do.
Thing is, I want to future-proof a little bit, so I want that 32 gig of RAM. I want a bit more RAM. 16 is just not going to do it for me, I think.
16 is like bare minimum now.
But when I've got a phone with 24.
Well, that kind of
that shifts the bar a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And the Windows in Sam's arm is the Windows here. Yeah, that's just me sticking my arms out the window. Back when I was like signaling for when the British were coming. Yeah, that was kind of a thing. Yeah, that was me. Back in
Sam, we have a special guest in the chat.
Yeah, apparently, my wife is trolling.
Not everyone hates iOS.
No, not everyone hates iOS. They just don't like using iOS. They just do.
Just sensible people.
No, that's okay. No, and again, like I said, I just noticed it. And like, when I at my other places and just out and about, I kind of notice it. You will occasionally see a Samsung, or you occasionally see a Motorola. Once in a while, you might see an older OnePlus, maybe if you're lucky, but the rest of it, it's all iPhone all the time, man.
Well, you don't see Xperias everywhere.
I've seen one guy once using Xperia, and he was actually, funny thing was, I was at work. He was actually upstairs in the cafeteria we have at work, and I just looked over and I kind of happened to see he was using it, but it was I was ahead of him, but off center to his left, and all I noticed, I just saw the back of one. I saw the Sony logo, and I was like, oh, here's the first time I've seen one in the wild. Actually, I've seen more Duos in the wild than I've seen.
That's crazy.
That should just tell you how crazy that is.
Crazy.
when I went to actually buy the Surface Duo 2 when I was at Best Buy, the guy ahead of me bought the 256 gig version, right? And they had one of that and then the 128. So I want to buy the 128. But yeah, I've seen that, and then I seen another guy using it one day on a he was getting on downtown on one of the Metrolink stations. He actually had it in his hand. I kind of like.
I've seen a few Xperias. I mean, obviously, because there's some of the networks here still sell it. I don't know if EE's just dropped it though. But O2 still got it, obviously. But
yeah,
that's where we're getting it.
That's where we're getting it.
I've got like somebody in the family on Jackie's side. Sister-in-law, she's got an Xperia 1 Mark V. She always uses Sony's, and I've seen a few out in the wild.
Yeah, Peter's like, I probably recognize more people using a Huawei than an Xperia.
That's not true. I do see more Huawei's. Yeah, I still see P20s, P30s.
There was so many selling at the time. So
yeah,
it's not. I mean, P30 still. How many people do you still see with S10s?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
P30.
Mate, S7s, S6s, I still see a lot of.
Like the P30 for a lot of people still a pretty good phone.
Yeah.
And it works.
That's a great phone. I mean, I had the one that had that pearlescent back on it, and it was real. I love the P30. And the other one I had, the dog broke it. He chewed on it, broke the screen. The old P30.
I got that S10 that's up there.
Yeah, and then people would make the argument that that's really their. That's their quintessential. Like, they love that phone.
Huawei. I got that instead of the Huawei just because the ban had just come in. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave the Huawei out. Just leave it, and then worst decision ever because I fucking hated that phone. Hated it.
And that's the fact that I'd have a Huawei now if I had Google services.
I'm contradicting what Jermaine's just said.
Yeah,
it's the best Samsung series one because I think it was absolute garbage. But it's fine.
Hot
Jermaine
take
versus Dan.
I hated that phone so much. Fingerprint reader was trash. The Exynos was trash. The cameras were trash. The curved screen was trash.
Yeah,
Jermaine, why do you like it? Let's hear from Jermaine. Why does he like it?
He's going to say it's the best. Well, I mean, not only is that's not Jermaine's necessarily his take. That's a take of a lot of people. A lot of people argued that
loved it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody does. Everybody says it's the best one that this best series they had. Yeah.
Yeah,
I am just a funny bugger.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, if I could get a Huawei phone to work on AT&T, I would almost consider getting like a P50 or a P40 Pro Plus or something like that.
That Pura one looks cool.
Oh, too. Well, I mean, good luck finding one. The one I saw at the website wanted $2,200. No, we're not doing that. But
see, my sister had a Mate 20, right? She needed to upgrade, so I told her to get Pixel 6 at the time, or Pixel Pro, I said, but she got the standard 6. She regrets it and actually misses having a Huawei. She goes, the cameras were better on my Huawei, she thought. So
interesting.
So she doesn't want to get. She doesn't want to get a new Pixel when she upgrades.
Yeah, like I said.
Let's see. That was that Mate 20X one. That was like the massive.
Oh yeah, that's a huge one.
Yeah, I wanted one of them so bad.
Yeah, offered the basics very well. Love the fingerprint scanner, ultrasonic, and offer also a good small one with the S10e with not bad compromise.
Yeah, the S10e was a very good device. Actually,
it had an ultrasonic.
I think so. I don't know.
The S10?
I don't know. I think so.
Look it up. Look it up.
You have to check it out. Well, why don't we look at that? We'll look that up. And I don't know. I can't say
it was a fairly regular complaint, I think, about the fingerprint reader from people on that phone, but especially me. Hated the damn thing. Hated it. I went back to my Pixel 2 XL. Literally went back. What was it? 2 years. Just because I couldn't stand it. I took the Pixel 2 XL and the S10 Plus to a gaming convention. And the images on the first day out of the Samsung was so bad. I switched back to the Pixel. I was like, "Yep, everything's fine." It was crazy.
Jermaine doesn't like Pixels.
He doesn't. But back then, Pixels were a little bit more natural in terms of the images and stuff. So he probably would have actually liked them a lot more back then. Only since the 6 where it's sort of gone really heavy on that process look.
Yeah. Well, according to the S10 Plus had it. Let's see if the features: fingerprint, under display, ultrasonic, accelerometer, gyro, proximity, compass, barometer, heart rate, SPO2. Yeah. ultrasonic. I guess that's the first one.
Which one had dual aperture? I know it wasn't amazing, but which one had
S9? Was it?
Was it S9? Was it
S9?
Let's see. I don't know.
It wasn't great though, was it?
Well, it was pointless, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. That's even on most devices, it's not the best.
Yeah,
doesn't do much, does it? Would be cool to have dual aperture, like proper true dual aperture.
But you know what? It had a headphone jack, right? So it could be all bad.
Was that the last one? Was that the last one?
Yeah.
I think the S10 was the last. I think it was the S10 was the one. And then that was the end of it. But I mean, it was. I mean, like I said, a lot. I never had the S10. I think it was still on Notes at that point. I think I had the Note 9. And I still missed my Note 9. I still had that was probably one of my favorite Notes. It was the Note 9. I really liked it. I had the blue one with the I think it was a yellow S Pen. I really liked it. I liked the way it felt. It just felt like a nice phone. It felt really premium. I still enjoyed having the fingerprint sensor on the back. I still like having a physical sensor on the. I mean, the in screens are great.
Again, Sony. That's why we like Sony as well, actually, Dan, isn't it?
I just sold my Note as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I like Note
Ultra.
Yeah, I mean but now you've got obviously the S24 Note Ultra basically is what it is. I don't know. I still liked having a physical fingerprint reader. I still do. I like phones that have that. That's why I really prefer.
Way better.
Well,
and then also I like it in the fingerprint reader. It's spot on.
Yeah, and like I said, I also the funny thing is, I think the only two phones I have that are the Flippy Dippy and my Duo. The other ones are
I've
just
got it on the
actually no. I'm sorry,
and I'm using it on the 40 Ultra, Razer 40 Ultra as well.
No,
Razer Force, would you guys call it?
It's on the Fold.
Of course.
Yes, my Pixel Fold.
Very good on the Fold.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, I like the Fold. To me, honestly, except for the fact that I for some reason I don't know why it is, but on the Fold 5, the narrow screen mode didn't never bother me that much. And then I noticed as I'm using it more, as I've used it over this last while, it's too small, especially typing. It's a really kind of I noticed I struggle with typing more on the outside screen on the Fold than I would on any other kind of device.
Well, the Fold 6 is meant to be different, isn't it?
Supposedly, I haven't seen any specs on it because obviously I guess it's still a little early. But I'm curious to see. I'm actually more curious to see how Pixel 2 is going to look. The Fold.
Well, it's going to ramp up now because it's normally. Is it July for the Folds normally?
I think so.
Yeah, so it's going to ramp up now.
Because we're getting close from Samsung, aren't we? There's watches, the Ring.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought the Ring wasn't the Ring supposed to be a thing last year. That's when we all thought the Ring was going to kind of drop.
Yeah, they teased it, didn't they? They teased it at the S24 launch.
They teased it here in January, but it's a Ring.
There's the
Ring.
Ring.
I'm not going to tell you anything about it. That's it. It's a Ring.
Well, I know they have Aura's got those rings that are pretty nice too. So
yes,
I mean, if you're looking for just a simple fitness tracker, I mean, why not? I mean, if you don't want something as I mean, obviously, if you, have a wedding ring or whatever, or any other, I don't know. I would try the Aura. I just don't know if I want to spend more money on a ring than I bought it for my wedding ring. So it's kind of weird. But
I think because you've got the Fold though, it's good to have like the Galaxy stuff because it just integrates well and.
Oh yeah,
those Samsung Health features, which are actually pretty good.
Yeah, and actually, the funny thing is, and I noticed this. I didn't notice this until a couple after I got the watch. When you put the watch in sleep mode, it turns your screen on your Samsung device black and white.
Does it?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Which is kind of weird because then sometimes in the morning I'll get up and I'll grab my phone real quick if I'm getting up early, and I forget to turn off the sleep on my and I look up and the screen's all black and white. I went, that means I still got sleep mode on my phone. Darn God! On my watch.
I think that's a good thing though. That's quite good.
Yeah,
it's things like that. I like it.
It's a little nice touch that kind of it gives you. Well, first of all, I don't know if it's supposed to, but it gives me a visual clue that I still have sleep mode on my phone, especially if I'm on my watch, especially if I'm waking up and I don't, turn it back off. I'm sure there's a way to automate it, but I don't know. I noticed that when I grab my phone, it's like, it's black and white. You can turn sleep mode off of my watch and just go. So, but it's a little thing that, like I said, that Samsung does a pretty good job with that. I think they integrate it pretty well.
I think we're still waiting. People still keep going on about Samsung releasing 2 folds as well.
I keep hearing there's
meant to be an Ultra Fold.
Yeah.
Which is going to be probably just the Fold 6 as you know it, and then there's going to be, I guess, a more affordable one, maybe in like the $999, $1,000 range. But I'm curious what they would. I don't know if on foldables. How do you feel about? Do you think they need a budget option? Do you really think that is necessary? Because I think I
don't know. I kind of feel like the current fold should be the budget option.
Right.
Yeah, possibly.
Because I feel like Samsung could do. I mean, you only have to look at OnePlus, Xiaomi, all these others doing folds that are far more advanced in terms of like the cameras and everything else. Like, I want to see Samsung push the boundaries a little bit.
Yeah.
Engineering boundaries. Just push
they do play it safe.
I mean, too much. I think when you're in that category where it's like things are still developing, you want companies to sort of just experiment and push it on. So otherwise, you just don't get anywhere.
Right.
So I think they're just playing it a bit safe, but other companies are trying at least. But then I don't know if there's. I don't know if I saw rumors that Oppo and OnePlus aren't releasing a sequel to their folds.
They're not
next.
Oh.
I don't take that as gospel, by the way. I'm just saying.
I've heard
something about that.
Yeah, I've heard the same rumor, and honestly, I have a feeling, and as much as this is going to probably bum me out a little bit, I have a feeling that probably in 3 years, you will not. Companies are going to kind of get away from a foldable device. I just don't think it's going to catch on. I think
for making money. They're not going to make money, and the screens are just been. I've seen so many people, even with the OnePlus, like screens just breaking within.
Yeah, and you think about the second-hand market for these foldables.
Oh,
not great.
No. Honestly, I mean, if you're looking at buying like maybe like a Fold 3 or a Fold 4, unless it's,
I wouldn't.
I mean, unless it's like sub $300, I wouldn't even try.
I'd have to be buying it refurbished with a guarantee.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
Like if you buy it here from like giffgaff, they do like a 1-year guarantee.
Yeah. Or CEX give you warranty, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, in case you have a screen failure or something like that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, so far, luckily, I've had this and I haven't had any issues with it. It's been pretty solid. And Flippy Dippy, Motorola. I say what you say. I mean, it doesn't always feel like the most solid phone, but it's been pretty solid. I mean, I've used it and it's been pretty good. I haven't had any issue.
I've been enjoying the Motorola Flippy. It's the Ultra, or the Plus as it is over there.
Right.
It's really nice, and there's leaks about those coming out now as well. So.
Yeah, I like the Motorola's. I mean, when I had the I guess the Ultra 30, I guess the 30 Ultra, whatever, or Plus or whatever it was a great phone. I thought the screen resolution was nice. It was nice and bright. The 144 hertz. Obviously the camera's a little soft. I mean, obviously that's with the Motorola's, that's the weak point on it. I mean, it didn't take great pictures. But I mean, obviously, for folks like you and like Manos and people who are real photocentric, it's really going to fall down. That's probably where it's going to be the pain point.
Yeah, I was starting to get some decent pictures out of it when I was in London.
I mean, I saw some of the shots you took with it. I was like, wow, this came from you wouldn't have thought just like looking that a Moto could do as well as it did in those conditions. I think again, like always, we've already talked in the hands of a competent photographer, somebody who knows how to frame shots a little better. The same phone can produce better images if it's in the hands of somebody who has a little bit more of an understanding on framing and light and angle and those kind and focal points and stuff. I think you're probably going to be able to get better. I mean, phones that everybody gives one about, this phone's garbage and this camera's not that good. I mean, a lot of people, I think, they were kind of shitting on the OnePlus 12, and then they start shooting it and getting out, and they're like, man, this camera's pretty damn good. It's like
Sam, to that point,
you can't keep saying that OnePlus cameras are that's where the pain point, because OnePlus's cameras are pretty good. I would say.
Sam, to that point, I think you're bang on the nose. Really, like even like the SE is a bit of a pants camera, really. But Mike posted some images, I think yesterday, from the SE.
Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, it's the photographer. It's not the actual camera itself. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Sam.
Well, and don't worry, sweetheart. On behalf, I am going to say no, and I have said no way more often than I've said yes. You just see the small wins, the small times where I break and say yes. But there's a lot of times where I have to just put it down and walk away. I know. Isn't it nice that your wives kind of leave you alone? My wife not only listens to the show, she'll troll me in the comments. Love that. That's fun.
No, my other half does troll me. Does come in and wind me up on my streams and my game streams.
That's okay. Yeah, that's that. No, but I honestly think just like anything else. I think in the same phone in two different, obviously lighting conditions, but especially if you have access to a pro mode and you know how to do all that, there are things that I know Joe and you and Manos and people like that who have experience in Germain can do that I just do not have the capability or don't see. I mean, just from your experience from using.
But you could learn quite easily, Sam. Though.
Oh, I'm sure I could. Yeah, and I just and that's why I think it is. So instead of just kind of being kind of intellectually dishonest and kind of saying, well, that's just a trash camera and you can't get anything out of a Motorola. It's just garbage. It's just objective. It's like no, I don't think so. I think there's definitely some capability differences in devices, sure, but I would say that people who know how to take good photos can get the most out of phones that would be objectively worse. And you just can't sit there and go, well, since it's a Motorola, it clearly can't produce an image that's even worth even posting online. Yeah. I just don't think it's an intellectually dishonest comment. And I just think it's lazy.
I've only been editing my photos, I think, for about 9 months. It's not really that long.
Right.
So before that, I was just posting auto shots and being lazy. But it's actually quite enjoyable once you get into it a little bit. And yeah, having the pro modes does, especially on the Motos do have the pro modes, so it's quite handy to just play around with that a little bit.
Yeah, one of my favourite comments about photography was from Dave West in the Peaches group, and it was about someone posting a nice picture of a newborn baby, and you get these idiots who be like, "Oh, there's a lot of noise in the background." It's like, it's a beautiful picture of a newborn baby. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. It's just people. God, some people just want to watch the world burn. I swear, I hate everybody sometimes.
Who cares if there's a little bit of noise in the background? Why are you even looking at that?
This is the thing. That you see some of these people criticizing people that are really good at photography.
Yeah,
and criticizing things that has been like a stylistic choice, or if they've got flair and stuff like that. It's an artistic choice. It's just like, oh, the HDR is terrible. It's like, dude. Please,
I quite like lens flare. I've got an app called Lens Distortion, and I add flare on it sometimes. I like it. So
yeah, like backlighting and stuff like that sort of stuff. It's like sometimes it is just an artistic thing.
Yeah,
and people just lose their minds because they're like, well, it needs to do this because this is how smartphone photography should be.
Yeah,
I do.
I love
it's subjective.
And that's what's great about it is there are some things you can look at objectively and say, yeah, there's some noise here. Yeah, there is lens flare here. Yeah, those are things that you can objectively
be framed better. It could,
you can say, but objectively. But here's the thing: unless you're taking the shot, you don't know what the person who's creating the picture is trying to really accomplish. Maybe, like in Joe's case, he is trying to get some distortion or lens flare. Maybe in your case, Dan, you want a little noise and some grain in the background to give it kind of a grainy, kind of more raw
grunge look.
Yeah, just a different kind of it's like I think if you, and especially like in some of those pictures I see that Manos puts up, I'm like, man, they're just really like, I don't want to say raw, that's not the term. They're real like just like earthy, gritty, real kind of shots. I mean, they just kind of they hit you not like something that would come out of a press release, right? They're like something you would see. And I like them. I do enjoy seeing what people can do with some slight edits, some slight color changes. And like I said, Joe's got an app that distorts lens. So, it's like, let people just create. And if you don't like it because it's not your jam, fine. I mean, there's just like anything else art or music related, right? Some things are just not your cup of tea. Yorkshire tea, by the way.
Well, I'd say to people, right, no matter what phone you've got, whatever camera you've got, just go out and take pictures and have fun. But take lots of pictures.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're capturing memories, aren't you?
Yes,
so,
exactly.
It's the memory that matters.
And also, remember the best camera is the one you brought with you that day. So
100%.
You're just there. So just
OnePlus with you.
Yeah. So
don't just take your S24 Ultra out, Joe.
Right. Don't be that guy, Joe. So, and like as Jermaine said, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong.
Exactly, saying that for a reason. Today, right, we went to Stockwood Park. Took some photos while I was there with the family, and I picked up the S24 Ultra Cast when my SIM's gone back in at the moment, and I regretted not taking the OnePlus with me as well. So that's why he's saying that.
Yes, Shark. Yeah, that Rebecca is that is my wife. She's upstairs right now.
She's better half.
That's very much my better half. Holy cow! Absolutely, yes. Yeah, Becky.
I always call mine a better half as well.
Yeah, that's my 95. Yeah, that's Becky. So yeah, she just every once in a while. I know she listens to the show. And like I said, everyone
the good books and all that.
Absolutely. And then my daughter Anna will sometimes kind of pop in here every once in a while. Yeah. She's like doing the swimming thing or something.
Well, she's been on the show, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's been on the show. Yeah, we had it. And then, in fact, if you want to look that up, go look for that. That's a fun show. Having my daughter on it's kind of fun show. That's what you have to look forward to, Dan, in maybe 20 years when your daughter and or son grows up, and then
I might be bald by then.
You probably will be, and that's okay. We'll still watch your show. Well, Joe might not be because I think he's got.
There'll be two eggs.
He'll keep that hairline until he's 90. He'll be like
I don't know about that. I'll be grey though.
More gray.
I'll definitely be grey.
Oh well, shit.
More gray.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, she's checking on me. I better stay on my best behavior. Actually, no. She kind of every once in a while lets me slide on kind of being kind of a knucklehead and a little bit of a maniac. That's okay. I mean, she
knew what she got into.
Oh yeah, I mean, and like I said, she understands that sometimes it's I'm a lost cause. It's fine, I try, but yeah, it's whatever. So yeah. Anyway, Dan, we're looking forward to having you on again after the Xperia 6, and we want to hear your thoughts on that because obviously, and just generally, not just because of the Xperia, we just love having you on because you're one of our mates, and we love having you, man.
I'll have more to talk about by then, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll have loads. We never struggle to talk, do we? Really?
No, and it's funny. And then apparently now it's not Scouse. Apparently the worst accent in the UK is it Birmingham? That's what they say.
A Brummie.
Brummers? A Brummie?
Yeah,
it's a Brummie.
Yeah. He's calling Brummers.
I didn't know. I couldn't remember what they were talking. I barely pay attention. Everything in the UK has got some kind of damn nickname.
Brummie accent is pretty.
Yeah.
Without offending anyone.
I think it seems like it kind of bounces between Scouse and Brummie. That seems like that's kind of the two.
Yep.
The two we can take it or leave it kind of thing.
Yep.
So
for sure.
Yeah, which I didn't really. What's the main difference between a Scouse and a Birmingham accent? Like are they pretty much fairly similar? Are those areas close to each other?
No, they're very different.
Yeah, they're quite different, and I think Scouse is probably a little bit more annoying.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay.
You should just look up on YouTube or just like somebody doing it, because I'm not going to attempt it. Because
with a Brummie,
as much as I can do it, if I try to do it, that's when it goes wrong. If I just do it off cuff, it's fine. But
with Brummie, I'd say it's more slower and deeper, whereas Scouse is quite out and faster and high pitched at times.
Is that where the annoying comes from? Is because of the fast pace and the high pitch kind of accent?
Yeah, and on the flip side, Brummie's more slow and
Harry Enfield sketch of the Scout.
Yeah,
that's you've got to watch that. That's...
And then apparently, and Jermaine says the rudest Brits are from Bristol.
Bristol.
Well, Bristol's just a bit of a.
Oh, I love it. I love how people.
Neil's from down that way.
Yeah, when you kind of mention Neil.
Oh, well, that explains everything.
I'm sure he is.
I mean,
is he from Bristol?
How far is that from him? I'm gonna have a look.
I just get a kick out of it as an American who doesn't know anything about this little interconnected stuff. Listen to Scouse and Brummie, and you say, "Oh, he's from Bristol." Oh, those Bristol people are kind of.
It's always funny though, because I for Americans, I think it's probably weird just because everything, England's and the UK is so small by comparison,
right?
And that we've got so many different accents and even some different languages in some cases, but everything's so tribal. It's it's crazy.
No, Bristol's closer to him than us.
This is our geography, but also it's really our cultural segment on the UK because as an American, I'm kind of, because I've started listening and doing the show with not only I did with Matt before, but and then now with Joe and everybody else, and it seems like the majority of the people that are either listening or following us are in the UK or in Europe or whatever. You don't really understand like again, like Dan said, the island's so small. I knew not everybody's the same. I can clearly tell the differences in pitch, and also not just language, but also it seems a real variation of slang. Like it's totally different. You know, and just like the barm thing, right? We had that discussion about the barm, and then it's like some other, you know, and it's just when you're describing food or whatever.
So many different words for just the same thing.
Yeah,
that even changes with generations as well, though. The slang.
Well, I mean, look at kids now. Everything's like, that's like everybody's vibing. Everybody's got Riz. No cap.
We're always vibing in here,
skibbity.
Mate.
Like I got nothing. Like I just think it's hilarious because now there's like these middle school teachers that go on TikTok and YouTube and stuff like that, and they're talking about what these kids are saying. Like they have like Ohio skibbity. It's like oh God.
The thing that's weird now here in the UK especially is that a lot of the slang and words and things are things that come over from the US because all the kids picking stuff up off of TikTok and everything else.
Yeah, so especially.
Sort of, we've got like a weird mix now of American slang and then the slang that's picked up here as well. So it's like we get this weird.
And slang that's used in music as well, with rap music.
It's all music, music. People picked up a lot from that,
I guess. Apparently, So something like that. I don't know what he just said. There's a bunch of words that don't make any sense. And apparently, there's. Well, you know what? Like, I don't know, dude. It's just I just can't keep. It's funny. I don't want to be old. I don't want to be that guy. It's like these kids today just use these. I want to try to kind of keep up. But it's like it's moving so quick, like I can't even like unless I spent dedicated time trying to like understand like what the Rizzler, and I don't know what's going on. Like I gotta have somebody like
when you said Skibbity, there was a really good MC, a drum and bass MC called MC Skibbity. So I immediately thought of him.
Well, maybe I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think they just happen to be the same name. I don't know. He only knows that thanks to his brother. So it's interesting, like I said, because of TikTok. How things in America, American slang and the cultural things are kind of starting to bleed. And the funny thing is
American culture.
And it's funny because it doesn't go the other way. There's no kid that I hear that talks like a British kid. Like I'll never hear words they use in the UK or slang they use in the UK. It's
you guys are ruining everything for us. Ruining absolutely.
It's okay. We're here.
Terrible.
That's what. Well, I mean. Because America, that's why. That's fine. You know what? Yeah, and I agree. And Jermaine, I agree. I'm not saying I want to talk like that. I don't want to say I have Riz, right? I don't want to. I just whatever. Yeah, whatever they are in the Netherlands, they're normal. They don't have a mountain anywhere. Go find a mountain.
They're a strange bunch in Netherlands.
They got some. That's okay. And Jermaine, but he's great people. So I mean, we're okay with leaving him a little bit.
We need to get Jermaine back on again. Actually, it's been a long time.
Absolutely. So
he's been flying.
He has.
I just mean like he's doing.
He has been flying. Yeah.
Oh, is that?
If you haven't, I'm sure all our listeners already checked Jermaine out. But anyone who hasn't, go and check Jermaine out.
Yeah, absolutely. He does great stuff about cameras, and he takes images and stuff. Like what he needs to do is, and we'll have Jermaine on the show, obviously. But I want him to do another one of those where he goes to a city. The arm, dude. I need another one of those. Like I said, and I cannot stress this enough.
We're telling.
Yeah, this is a directive. Because we're gonna make. I mean, it's, We like I said, we just liked. I just thought that was like just one of the most. Not only do I get the pictures, but I love that kind of stuff. And like everybody assumes that Americans are just completely like we don't care about anything else that's going in the world. Well, that's not all of us. I thought that was fantastic YouTube video. That was one of my favorites. I love
fantastic. Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, and everything hurts. Yeah, I know. Wait till you're 50. Then getting out of bed. It's like, what did I do? I just literally walked out of bed and now I have a twisted ankle. Like, what is happening? Why is my back hurt? I didn't do anything other than sit up out of a sitting position. What is happening? Dude, it sucks, man. I'm getting old. I know. Get ready.
Yeah, getting old sucks big time.
So anyway, but yeah, if he does another one, and everybody else here, like I said, a lot of folks in the chat that they actually do content. So check them out. I saw Greggles in there too. I said Barry Johnson was in the chat. I know other people like Peter and all. They do all sorts of stuff. Check them out. It's not just us, and I want you guys to really enjoy Manos and all them. We had him on last week. Get out there and enjoy it. Yeah, everybody follow it and actually take some time out of your day and really kind of just and see what these people are doing. They're really doing really great, creative, interesting kind of work. And you don't know. I mean, like I said, you might watch a video and it might spark something. You might see something and you go, holy cow, that's kind of cool. I want to know more about that. And it helps you deep dive. Yeah. Yeah. He's flying. I think he's actually falling downstairs.
Right.
Just don't hurt yourself. Just don't hurt yourself. We really want you to stay in one piece, Jermaine. We really love you. So please stay uninjured. We would really appreciate that.
Definitely.
So absolutely. So Dan, anything else before we go? Like I said, and I'll go to your X or Twix just to get those links, but I want to make sure I post those for anybody who wants to check out what you're doing.
Grounded.Tech on Medium and Substack. I've only just started using Substack, but I'm starting to post my articles there and Medium at the same time. But Medium's been going really well in terms of readership on there. It's kind of wild. Okay, cool. I've never heard of that, but we should check that out. So we just want to make sure we get the links. I have the show notes. I'll make sure I put the links in there. And like I said, and again, like I said, Jimmy says, stay hydrated. And make sure you get a drink or 2 or 3 or whatever. I don't know. Dan was drinking some kind of orange. It looked kind of like orange
lemonade.
Squash.
Oh, okay. It looked like lemonade. I don't know. Looks pretty good. Joe's just not drinking anymore. Are you not drinking, mate?
No. I'm gonna go to bed soon. Finished.
Yeah, it's late here, right? It's late. We don't want to be wetting ourselves at night, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm getting old, man. If I have more water, I'll definitely be up in an hour or so.
And then Manos decided to join right at the end. Hey,
Manos. Late as always.
Absolutely. Late, but always great. That's right. That's what we say about Manos. So for Dan and Joe and Sam, thanks for tuning in and checking out our great conversation. Again, we're so happy to have everybody in the chat making contributions and making comments. And like I said, we'll have Dan on when we get the Xperia 6 and get some time under the belt, get some photos, have some stuff to talk about, see how the phone performs. And Joe's going to get one too, apparently. So we'll bring them all. We'll have them have a meeting of the minds and kind of figure out if the phone's really worth your time and is it really worth the money. And I'm sure if you ask them, it probably is. But we'll see. Well, I'm looking forward to that conversation.
We'll stay on that front.
Absolutely. So for myself, for Joe, for Dan, thanks for tuning in. Stay hydrated. Be excellent to each other. We'll see you next Sunday. We don't have a guest lined up, but we didn't have a guest lined up the last 2 times, and we wound up getting some really good, jolly folks to come hang out with us. So we really appreciate the time. And for Sal, anything, Joe, before we go, other than your hair saying goodbye, because it's awesome, by the way.
No. Just I feel for all you guys struggling with hay fever.
Oh yeah, if you have the hay fever or any allergies. Dan's just high, so that's medicated. Good.
Well medicated.
Fine. Yeah, no hope without dope. Yeah, dope. Yeah. So if you have any allergies or hay fever, I know it sucks. And yes, Manos, you're right. Don't forget to skin your shit. Hashtag skin your shit. Extremeskins.co.uk. Check them out. Great stuff. Good times. Fans of the show. Awesome stuff. Skin your shit. On a good time. And for myself and for Joe, for Dan, we're going to take off. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next Sunday. Take care of yourselves. Love it.
Bye-bye.
Take care.